Today we are going to be making a clay fish dish. You can see here I have a clay fish filled with patterns and designs. And when then I set it like this, it's kind of a dish. So it kind of comes in a little bit and I could put some little things in there. But mine is still kind of drying a little bit. I have not put it in the kiln. So to begin today, we are going to roll out a slab using a rolling pin. You do not have enough at your table for everybody to have their own, so you will have to share. For this, you're going to want to stand up, use more strength, and you're going to start rolling out your slab. And you want to roll in lots of different directions. Now this can be a little tricky, first graders. You don't want to have it be too thick, because then it might break. But you also don't want it too thin, because then it might break. So it's kind of tricky, and I'll walk around and help you with this step. But what you're doing is you're trying to roll out your slab, kind of your pancake, to fit this fish tracer. And it's not quite there yet. It's also just a little bit too thick. So I'm going to take my rolling pin, and with my help, I'll walk around and make sure, give you a thumbs up if it's too thick. And then we can roll it a little bit more. I'd rather have it be too thick, because then we can just roll it out instead of be too thin. Because then we kind of have to start over if it's too thin. So that looks about the right. It's not too thick, it's not too thin, and my fish fits. At your table, you're going to get a box of tools. And the first tool you're going to need is a needle tool. Some of them have a silver handle and some of them have a wood handle. They all work the same, but we need to make sure we're being very careful with these, as they are a little sharp. So I'm going to put my fish down. I'm going to hold it with one hand, make sure it all fits. And then with the other hand, we're going to press into the canvas. You should almost be able to hear a noise of pressing into the canvas. I also want to hold it straight up instead of going in diagonally. So I'm going to start maybe here. I'm going to go nice and slow, tracing that fish, pressing. I know I'm pressing into the table, into the canvas. And I think I'm going to do it kind of in sections. So then I'm going to take that little piece off. I'm not going to play with these extra pieces. Then I might go in and do this little part. Again, it might be easier to do it in a few little pieces rather than one big piece. That can get a little tricky. But I'm going to take my time, make sure I'm pressing nice and hard, cutting through the clay. I have my last piece here. Then you can take your fish tracer off and you have a fish. The first thing we're going to do today is we are going to draw patterns and stamp patterns. You can see I have a variety of patterns here, and you can use all these different tools in your bin to create those patterns. So to start today, I think I'm going to use, I think I'm going to flip mine this way. You can have yours any way. I'm going to take a stick and I'm actually going to stamp the eye in there. And then I think I'll take my needle tool and I'll just draw another circle around it. Maybe you don't want an eye, maybe you just want it to all be decorative. Then I might take a knife and I'll maybe press in, stamp it again for my mouth. Then I think I'll take my other side of my stick and I'm just going to start creating some patterns and some designs. Taking my time, really thinking about doing it neatly. And then I think I'll take some of these other tools, do some different stamping, some different patterns. You could just stamp, or you could also kind of draw into the clay. So maybe I want to take here and I want to draw some lines into the clay. I think I'm going to do some smaller stamps now. But go ahead, take some time and draw and stamp some beautiful patterns into your fish. once you are done with the patterns of your fish, you're going to very gently turn it over. And we are going to add a little coil, a little snake on the back, so it sits up on the dish instead of just laying flat. We could just have it lay flat and be a beautiful piece of artwork, but why not have it be a beautiful piece of artwork and something that you can use, like a little dish? So we're going to very gently flip it over, and then you're going to take a piece of your extra clay. You're going to pinch it a little bit, and then you're going to roll it into a coil. Now when you're rolling it into a coil, you want it all to be the same thickness. So you don't want one area to be really thin and one area to be really thick. So you want to roll it all kind of in the same, throughout the same coil, the same. And then I'm going to, okay, that looks like it fits. I'm going to wait. Then to attach it, we can't just set it there. It will not work. It will not stay. So what we have to do is we have to do 3 different techniques. The first one is called scratch to attach. And I'm just going to put little scratches in the clay where we're going to be putting that coil. So scratch it to attach it, and I'm going to do it in 2 different directions. Scratch it to attach it. I'm going to do the same thing here and the same thing here. And this looks a little thin, so I'm going to cut that off. But I'm going to scratch it to attach it. Then slip, we're going to use water. If you kind of rub it on there, then it kind of makes it kind of slip. I'm going to put it there, and I'm going to put it on the coil as well. So scratch it to attach it, slip to be hip, and blend to the end. So we're going to go ahead and put that on there. Again, being gentle. We don't want to press too hard because remember, you have beautiful patterns on the other side. And this part can be a little tricky, so I will walk around and help you with this, but we're going to take a green tool and you're going to blend it. So to blend it, you just kind of want to blend the coil to the back of the fish. Now, I wouldn't pick it up, first graders. I'm just picking it up so you can see it. But I will walk around. You can also use your finger. Your finger is a great blending tool. You can do it in the middle. You want to just make sure that that coil, the snake, is kind of attached to your fish. Then you want to smooth, make sure this is nice and flat. And you are done with your fish.